Are you looking for new books to read? Do you like finding a new special author? Are you tired of the same old books from the same old authors? Well then, welcome to Discovered Wordsmiths, a podcast where you can hear from fantastic new authors. Join Stephen Schneider as he finds and talks to authors you may not know, but authors that have worked hard to write great new books. Hear about their book and why you should check it out. So sit back and listen to today's Discovered Wordsmith.
Hello, welcome to Discovered Wordsmiths. Today I have a wonderful interview with Rachael Biggs. She has a fiction book kind of based on true life called And I Was Like November. That is coming out soon. You can pre-order it right now. So it's a good interview to listen to see if you like the book and order it before it comes out. Check it out. And for those of you that were paying attention, Roland and Tom a couple weeks ago were on. They will be back next week. And I myself am, I know I didn't make it and get my Christmas Ghost Stories serial out, but I am working on a Christmas story like I used to that will become part of a series that I am going to be releasing. So I'm still working on something and it should be out. It's really kind of fun story at the moment using my Oddish Questers kids and storyline. So that's something that I'll probably have out more later. But anyway, it is Christmas season. We're about 2.5 weeks from Christmas right now. I'm very excited. Oh, and I don't have my hat on, but I do have my Christmas background. Not even wearing a Christmas shirt today. So I'll get things back together, get my hats on and wear them. So hopefully I will see you sometime with my hat on. So before I babble anymore, here's Rachael. Great. Well, Rachael, welcome to the Discovered Wordsmiths today. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you. I can't wait to hear about your book. But before we do that, let's find out a little bit about you. So tell us some things about you, where you live, some of the things you like to do besides writing.
Okay, I've just actually moved from Los Angeles to Vancouver, Canada, which is where I'm from originally. Um, and what do I do besides writing? I have a puppy, a 1.5-year-old puppy, so I go to a lot of dog parks and dog meetups and walking of the dog. I like to be outside. I ski. I hike, swim, all those usual things.
Nice. So what type of puppy did you get?
He's a long-haired dashhound.
Oh,
He's with his friend right now because I needed him to be quiet, or it to be quiet. So
right. Got
I just got a text that he's crying for me. I'm like, oh God.
it. So we were chatting just a minute before this started. This is your second book. Um, Tell us a little bit about it and why you wanted to write this book.
Well, it's a book of short fiction, and it started out. I read Stephen King's book on writing. If anyone hasn't read that, I really recommend it. It's so excellent.
Yes.
Um, and I had self-published a book, a memoir, in 2013, called "Yearning for Nothings and Nobodies," and it, while critically acclaimed, didn't get much traction. It didn't sell very well. So I was looking for ways to get published traditionally. And I happened upon that book, and he talked about writing short stories and, submitting to literary magazines. So I had never heard of that before. I mean, I guess it was in my brain somewhere, but that just, made it a reality. Thank you, Stephen King. So I started writing short stories, and I had written a couple previously, mostly as like outlines for bigger things, because I do movies and novel type stuff as well. So I started writing short stories, and my goal was to publish 6 of them within a year, and within I think it was about 6 months, I'd published 10 of them. So then I had kind of a body of short stories. And then it just sort of went from there. I'm like, oh, I could have this as an anthology. And yeah, opened that world up.
Nice. So when you say you had them published, where did you get them all published?
Different literary magazines. I don't know if anyone knows about this website. It's called Duotrope, and it's an excellent website. Do you know about it?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's really cool. It's you can search by genre and word length and everything for publications that are accepting queries. So that's how I did that. And what was the question?
I was
Sorry.
just curious where they were all published. So it's different
Oh, okay. The
places.
first one was Dalhousie Review, and then there's like 12 other ones from all around the country, and I think there's one in Australia as well, and
Nice.
Canada. So, yeah.
So you wrote the short stories all separate, not necessarily intending to be a book,
No.
and got them out. What have people been saying about them? I'm jumping around in the questions, but this is a little different than most people I talk to because you've gotten stories out and feedback on them. So what have you been hearing about the different stories?
Well, it is sort of a theme, and I'm not a good picture of myself, but the theme is loosely, women in peril and um, sort of like bad girl themes. Um, so yeah, so I've submitted to like sort of. I was about to say adult magazines, but that sounds pornographic. It's not like
Right,
that.
right. But yeah, I
Or like
understand. It's not
edgier.
okay.
Yeah, edgier publications. So the quote that I actually have on the cover from Blotter magazine calls it a beautifully written bummer. So I think
Wow.
that sort of summarizes. It's like
Okay.
themes of loneliness and longing and, transactional sex, hit and runs, you know, uh, fantasies of inflicting violence on your grandmother, stuff like that.
Wow. So,
Fun
so
stuff.
why did you choose to write a bunch of stories about that? I mean, when you say damsel in distress, I think of the White Knight, coming in to rescue him.
Yeah, not quite.
That's right. It doesn't sound like that. Why a bunch of stories centered around that type of theme or that type of, you know, something that's a little different than what I normally hear?
Um, I wouldn't say it was intentional. It was just sort of like what flowed out of me. They're very raw, honest. Some of them are essays, so I'll let people decide which ones they think are true. But
Okay.
yeah, kind of came out.
So the overall theme, the style of the story, and all that. Is there any books out there that are similar that if people go, oh, well, I like that other book, this sounds interesting, I might read that?
Yeah, sort of in the vein of like The Glass Castle or White Oleander, um, Catcher in the Rye, even like
Oh,
there's some mental illness themes as well.
okay.
But yeah, from a
Interesting.
female perspective, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's just coming out. Is that correct?
It pre-sales are December 15th,
Oh,
2022,
cool.
and then it hits shelves January 31st, 2023.
Okay. Okay. So it is just
Yeah.
coming out. By the time the episode's out, they'll be able to order it. Nice. Just
Yeah,
just in
that's right.
time.
Just in
Okay,
time
good.
for holidays. If they need a
Right,
light
right.
holiday read. Or if you're going
Perfect.
to see your family and you need something relatable.
Now, this is your second book. How is it similar or different to your first book?
Well, the first one was a memoir, and that took me a really long time. I mean, it took about 2 years to write and edit and, get to final publication. Um, this one came out a lot. It was a lot more in the flow. I wrote it mostly during COVID, so I had a lot of time. And oh, hi, Kitty.
Yeah, I got a visitor.
Just popped up behind your shoulder there. Uh, yeah, so it felt easier, and also, but I've been writing a lot longer now, right? So I think that's part of it as well. Um, and I
So
think,
your first book being a memoir and this being a collection of short stories, do you feel that's the same type of reader or different types of readers?
Yeah, probably the same kind of reader, I would say. I mean, it's similar style. This is maybe, well, no, it's similar. I was going to say this one might be a bit edgier, but not a lot.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Now, here's a weird question for this. Are there any, maybe not the whole book, but any of the stories that you think would make a good movie or TV show?
Mm, probably. I'm always amazed at what they can adapt into TV and movies now, but yeah, there's definitely a visual element to them, I've been told. I've even been told that they can read like horror. So speaking
Ah,
of Stephen King, a lot of his stuff has been made into movies, obviously.
right.
So yeah, that wouldn't surprise me.
Okay. That's funny you say that because I do a horror podcast with a friend.
Oh,
And
you do?
this month I've been watching Christmas horror movies to get ready for Christmas movies. Transitioning.
Oh, I didn't know that that was a genre.
It's barely a genre. Most of them are really bad, but
Right.
yeah.
There's a lot of Hallmark movies that could be considered horror, in my opinion. Like,
Depending on your
horror.
viewpoint, definitely. So where do you have a website and where can they find the book?
Yeah, it's my website is rachelbiggs.com, and Rachel is Rachael. I have to clarify that because I'm sure, like your name, it's constantly misspelled.
Right. Well,
Um,
I named my daughter Megan Maegan, so that's a little
oh, the
different
poor
too. Spelled
thing.
with the AE like you. Yeah.
She's sentenced to a lifetime of correcting people, but I
Yeah,
do like
yeah.
that extra A, so I do correct people. So yeah, it's rachelbiggs.com, and then my Instagram is Rachel underscore Biggs underscore author. Twitter is at Biggsy Biggs. I'm not very good about keeping up with my Twitter, but my Instagram, I'm pretty on it. And then the
Okay.
book will be available. Sorry, did I cut you off?
No, no, go ahead, please.
It will be on Amazon, obviously, and in the Ingram Spark catalog, or I guess it's just called the Ingram catalog. And then hopefully in bookstores. We're still working on that, Barnes and Noble and some local stores, but that will be all over my social media. Will not
Nice.
be shy
Okay.
about that.
And uh, you mentioned Amazon. Are you going in Kindle Unlimited with this?
I don't know. I
Okay.
Ingram Spark is who I'm publishing with, and then I guess that falls under the umbrella of them. I'm not super
Okay.
clear on that yet.
Okay. No, that's fine. I was just curious because I know Kindle Unlimited is more popular with certain types of books and genres. So I was just curious as to if
Oh,
that was
okay.
looked at, that you think your book would be good in Kindle Unlimited or not. Uh,
Can you tell
just
me about
curious.
that? What?
Sure. So Kindle Unlimited, a lot of people don't like it because it's you get kind of locked in for 3 months. If you get on Kindle Unlimited, it's a subscription service. I don't
Mm,
know if they. I think it's in the Canada now. I know definitely the states and a few other countries. But
mhm.
so for like $10 a month, I can read as many books in Kindle Unlimited as I want. I
Oh,
don't own
cool.
them. It's not
Right.
really checking them out of the library. It's a subscription. If I cancel
Mhm.
Kindle Unlimited, I can't read the books anymore. And I know a
Right.
lot of authors put their books in there, but it fits very well with things like romance, where you'll get readers that
Oh,
read 20 books in a week. So
right. Oh,
they go
cool.
through and read, everything, and that's authors make money from it. But when you're in Kindle Unlimited, you can't publish it elsewhere. So I was just
Oh,
curious because you mentioned Amazon, but you didn't mention like Kobo or anything like that. So I was
yeah.
curious
So
what
that
you're
might be
doing.
something that you like put your book on, maybe not initially, but like, a year in or something when you want to do a little push,
Yeah,
maybe.
I've heard all sorts of things. I know some people that put it in Kindle Unlimited when they start and nowhere else, and then after 3 or 6 months, they leave it on Amazon, just not in Kindle Unlimited. Then they put it
Oh,
elsewhere. And I know others that offer it here, and then, like you said, later they pull it off elsewhere and put it in Kindle Unlimited. So yeah, various
oh, okay.
strategies.
There's like so much to know now. As I said, I I self-published 10 years ago versus now. It's a wealth of information out there.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
we're going to talk about that for the second half. So, for
yeah,
all the authors
yeah.
listening, that's going to be our topic of discussion for the second half. Um, and do you have plans for a third book? Because it sounds, we had a long time between.
Yeah,
Didn't sound like you were
that
really
wasn't my
planning.
intention to wait 10 years, but life just sort of happened. I was working in TV and that sort of like took over my life for a bit. Um,
Ah,
but yes, I do. I have it's sort of a memoir slash educational with regard to cancer and like holistic treatments to cancer. I lost my dad in 2015, and it was really difficult to navigate all of the treatments, and everything's happening so fast, and you're so emotional. So it's a memoir slash informational book, which I have
okay.
no idea if it will find a place in the world, but I'm writing it regardless.
Okay. Nice. So, totally different from the first two books. You seem to keep doing something a little different each time.
Yeah, it's not completely different in that it's a memoir. And my first book was about my mother. She was schizophrenic and drug addict, and it's our lives intertwined. So this one will be about my dad and our life together. So there's a little bit of similarity, but yeah, there is the
Interesting.
educational component as well.
Oh, oh, that's
Yeah,
interesting. I like that.
yeah.
Okay, so let's go off your book for a minute. Uh, do you have any favorite books and authors that you like to read?
Yeah, it's hard to choose, just one, but some of my favorites, I really like Donna Tartt, who the Goldfinch, obviously, and Secret History, which I liked as much as the Goldfinch. I love Tom Robbins. He's such a freaky. Do you know Tom Robbins?
I've heard the name. I haven't read anything.
His most famous one was they made it into a movie with Uma Thurman, Cowgirls. Is it even Half Asleep in Frog Pajamas is my favorite, and then what's the Cowgirls one? She's got the giant thumb. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
It's like
not ringing a
okay.
bell.
I sound
Sorry.
like a crazy person if you haven't read it, but yeah, Tom Robbins. I like Haruki Murakami. Um, yeah, I'm always reading like different sort of like spiritual kundalini kind of books as well. I tend to have like a novel, some kind of self-help spiritual book, and then like some kind of educational book on the go. So there's a
Do you
lot.
like to read paper or do you read Kindle?
Paper, yeah. Yeah. I
I
mean,
do that mostly.
myself every time I move, but I do like a good old-fashioned paper book.
Yeah, it gets to be a little overwhelming. I'm discovering more and more digital. It's easier to carry around, like you said,
Yeah, I
but
have a
I do.
Kindle, but I never even remember that I have it, I'm just like
Wow.
and I keep buying
Okay.
books. I'm like, "Oh my god, just use your Kindle," but anyways.
Okay. So when you are buying your books, do you have a favorite local bookstore you like to go to?
I do. It's called Pulp Fiction, here in Vancouver. Yeah, it's a great store. They have new and used books, and yeah, I could just spend hours in there. But every city kind of has a favorite bookstore for me. Portland has some great ones. LA has a really great one. Well, actually, they have a few great ones downtown, but there's one on the Venice Boardwalk called Small. It's a Small World Books, or just Small World Books. So yeah, I kind of find them wherever I go.
Yeah, me and my kids, when we went on vacation, we used to look for bookstores and
Yeah,
everywhere we
fun.
went. Yeah,
Where
very
are
fun.
you anyway? What city are you in?
I'm in Ohio,
Oh,
Northeast
okay.
Ohio, right by Kent State.
Oh,
Everybody
okay.
seems to know Kent State from the shootings. So
Oh,
unfortunately, that's how, yeah.
unfortunate. Yeah. I
So
Ohio makes me think of Dave Chappelle. He lives there.
yes, he lives down in Yellow Springs, down Southern Ohio.
He
Been through
speaks
there. I
very
haven't
highly.
seen him, but it's a cool little hippie town.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all I think of when with Ohio. So
Yeah, yeah. You're not the only one.
yeah,
There's a lot
better
of
than
people that think
shootings.
that. Very much so. Yeah, that's outdated. I don't want to say forgotten, but it's different generation at this point. So,
Yeah.
um, all right. So before we talk some author stuff and move on, Rachel, if someone came up to you and said, "Hey, I heard you wrote another book. Why should I get your book and read it?" What would you tell them?
Ooh. I would probably run nervously in the other direction. I'm so bad at self-promotion, but let me give it a shot. It's very honest and raw, and I feel like we live in this world where everything is presented as being so glossy and unreal, and this is the opposite of that. So if you want to feel like a real connection with characters and people, and you're tired of fake, then I think this is probably a good read.
Nice. Great. All right. Well, I wish you best of luck. I hope the pre-sales go well over the Christmas
Thank
holidays.
you.
It goes on pre-sale a day before my birthday, so
Oh,
I'm all
okay.
for that.
That's a
I
good
like
omen.
that. Yeah, there you go. I'm bestowing good omens upon you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Hi, if you enjoyed this episode of Discovered Wordsmiths, please support the author. Go to their website, go to Amazon, look them up, get the book. And if you click on the link that I have in the show notes, you'll also help support the podcast so I can keep the hosting and all the software I use and keep it running to help more authors. When I am recording this, we've got over 100 episodes, lots of authors. Go to the website, discoveredwordsmiths.com. Check it out. There's a lot of great authors, probably in some genre that you love. See what they have. Check out their books. That's what the point of the podcast is for. So people can discover new authors, find some new books they love, support the authors so they can continue writing. So please support them. And if you do like the podcast, if you've been thinking of podcasting or you're a writer, I've got some links also at the website. Click on those if you're interested in any of the software or services that I talk about. Everything that I have there is something I use, so I've got an affiliate link. Again, it's a little bit, if everyone clicked on those, if they were going to get it anyway, it helps keep the podcast going. So let's all help each other out and discover more authors to read.
Thank you for listening to Discovered Wordsmiths. Come back next week and listen to another author discuss the road they've traveled, and maybe, sometime in the near future, it might be you.